Welcome to Heat Check, the show where we break down key NBA storylines and give you the props, sides, and totals you need to bet. Can the Raptors sweep the back-to-back series with the Nets after a blowout win in Brooklyn last night? Will Steph and the Warriors win as road favorites? Or can Cat and the Timberwolves cover in this Western Conference showdown? And can LeBron and the home dog Lakers pull off an upset against Luka and the Mavs? All this and more, starting right now on Heat Check.
You're on.
All right, it is 6 o'clock, everybody. Time to talk some basketball. Brendan Glasheen, joined by a couple of Action Network contributors, Dan Titus. He is no stranger to the program. And great to have Chris Raybon joining us this week. Chris, what's going on? Glad to have you here.
What's going on, guys? I'm just, trying to get back in the swing of things. Took a little break after football, but let's get this money.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, it's a 6-game slate, so we're going to welcome you in with ease here. We're talking basketball tonight. This is Heat Check, best bets, player props, what we suspect the public will be on tonight for this 6-game slate. That is all coming up over the next 20 or so minutes. Everything we discussed, the picks, data, all of it available to all of you on the Action Network app, the award-winning Action Network app. We figured, let's try something new. We're going to throw Chris right into the deep end here to start us off this week. But big game tonight. There are two national TV games of the 6 being played. The nightcap, Dallas Mavericks, LA Lakers. Lakers are a mess. Mavs are 7-3 in their last 10. They seem to have turned a corner since the trade of Kristaps Porzingis. Luka Doncic is playing out of his mind. Let's build a same-game parlay around this game. Chris, because you're new-ish, we're going to go to you first. What do you got? What's your leg?
Well, my leg is not on the Lakers side. I just can't do anything with them at this point. So I'm gonna have to go with the Mavericks, and I'm gonna go with my guy Jalen Brunson over 4.5 assists here. Brunson has gone over this number in 25 of his 42 games started. That's about 60%. And he put him 9 against the Lakers the one time they faced off, 9 in 38 minutes. So give me Jalen Brunson over 4.5 assists at -127.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. What do you think, Dan? What do you think? This was something you were thinking about earlier, but Chris beat you to it.
Right. You're right. I was really on Jalen Brunson, so I love his assist play, but I'm going to go with Luka Doncic over 2.5 3-pointers made. He's averaging 2.8 this season, but he's really picked it up as of late, going over this mark in 7 of his last 10 games, averaging 4 3-pointers over that span. So the Lakers, they're not the best at guarding against the against the 3-point line, ranking 19th in threes allowed per game at 12.7. And over the last 2 months, Luka's been averaging 8.2 3-point attempts per game this over the course of the last January and February. So I have zero concern of Luka having any kind of hangover from his birthday party in LA last night. The drinking age in Slovenia is 18. So I think we're good here. And Luka's going to hit this over at 2.5.
That's right, Dan. He'll be all right. We think he'll be okay. I love the stat you used on 3-point shooting. I'll take it a step further. In the month of February, the Mavs offense is averaging 15 plus threes per game. That's second best in the NBA. I'm going to take it a step further from Chris here. I'm going to ride Jalen Brunson as well. I'm going to take 15 plus points plus assists. You can find this on DraftKings if you highlight the same game parlay. Brunson has not hit this in the last 2 games, and these 2 games are after the All-Star break. However, he's hit it he's hit at least 15 when you add the points and the assists in every game in the month of February. So he was playing at a very high level of basketball. I would like to think the Lakers, they are a good bounce back opponent out of the All-Star break for the Mavericks. They've been playing good basketball altogether. He's been a main source of their offense since the Porzingis trade. Dallas as a team, not a very high volume assist team. However, to help, back up Chris's point as well, the Lakers have been giving up a ton of assists the last couple of games, and more so the entire season. They rank in the bottom 5 in the NBA in assists allowed over the last month. So I like Jalen Brunson to have a bounce back kind of game, 8 points in each of his last 2. The assists have been down. It's a good spot, especially now with DJ Augustine in this rotation now with the Lakers in the backcourt. I'm not so sure I'm worried about the backcourt depth of the Lakers slowing down the backcourt of Luka and Brunson. So to no one's surprise, we are riding the backcourt of the Dallas Mavericks. If you tail all of these legs in this same game parlay, comes out to plus 185. So you bet $100, you win 185. I feel pretty good about it.
Feel great about it. We agree, man. We can't trust the Lakers right now. So I'm with it.
Good. All right. So that is, again, the nightcap tonight on the national TV package, Lakers, Mavs. If we do get back to that game, we will certainly discuss. Okay. Betting is believing. We pick one spread or total each, and we'll go around the room. Chris, back to you. What do you got?
I mean, betting is believing, so I'm going to kind of go out on a limb here and go with the Detroit Pistons. It's hard to believe in them, but they're 3.5-point underdogs against the Washington Wizards. And it's really just that I don't believe in the Washington Wizards at all. I mean, since Bradley Beal went down, they've only won 2 of their 11 games by more than 3 points. Now, one of them was against the Detroit Pistons, but I still don't see how you can not take points against the Wizards at this point. Washington just 8-17 against the spread as a favorite this season. And Detroit's been playing a little bit better as of late. They've won 3 of their last 4 games straight up, and they're 4-0 against the spread over that span. So I think Detroit is able to keep it going here against this Washington team that at this point, I don't really think is any better, just given what, how they've been gutted than this Pistons team.
Yeah. Dan, I can't figure out what's going on with the Pistons. Like, are they trying to win games now all of a sudden out of the break? Are they trying to give Cade Cunningham some life for Rookie of the Year? What's happening here? Dan, what are your thoughts on Chris's pick?
Yeah, it must be something in the water in Detroit, man. I don't get it. All of a sudden, it's just turned around for them ever since Jeremy Grant re-entered the lineup. But then you also have Cade Cunningham. And you're right. Maybe it's trying to make that surge for Rookie of the Year. But this team has really come together, and Sadiq Bey's played really well as well. But I'm with Chris, man. I can't trust the Washington Wizards. Ever since Kristaps Porzingis came over there, he hasn't played. This offense is not in sync, and they play no defense. So, yeah, it's hard for me not to – even he's going with the Pistons. It's just hard to trust the Wizards, so I'm with him there.
Yeah, under 500 as a home favorite. Like Chris was talking about, the trends actually lean the Pistons' way, believe it or not. All right, Dan, who do you have tonight as far as a total or spread for us?
I might as well just continue to just beat down on the Lakers here. I'm going to take the Lakers team total first half under 54.5. The Lakers have gone 3-7 straight up over their last 10. And that's also been the same trend that they've had in their last 10 home games as well, where they've only scored 49.8 points per game. They're facing a Dallas team that allows the second fewest points per game to opponents in the first half at 52 per contest. The Lakers are just way too dependent on LeBron James to score the basketball at this point, and their offensive rating shows for it. They're 25th overall over the course of the season, and it's only improved slightly to 24th over their last 10 games. So it's hard to put my faith in a team that after the All-Star break has only averaged 43.5 points on their home court, since the All-Star break. So yeah, I'm taking the under on the Lakers first half, 54.5.
Is there still a chance with a total under that number that they could have a lead in this game at the end of the first half? Like, are you backing that side because you think the Mavs are going to outscore them, or do you think the Lakers can actually play some defense? Our same game parlay might not.
So the Lakers, the Lakers defense outside of the Pelicans game has actually been pretty solid. Like they've been meddling around that 14-15 range all season, but it's really just I just think that they can't score the ball. You talked about their depth, but like what depth exists? We're reaching for Malik Monks and Talen Horton Tucker's out here. LeBron has nobody left, so yeah, he's going to have to give them probably something of 16 to 20 points in the first half for even this to be anywhere close to this, because he's averaging almost 40% of their points over the course of the last 10 games. So yeah, it's hard to trust anyone but LeBron in this Lakers lineup. So I think not only will Dallas score, but I just don't see where they're going to get any buckets on their side of the ball.
Yeah. LeBron's had at least 26 points in all but one game in the last 12, 13, 14 games. He's been on a tear here, but like you said, you can't trust many others on the Lakers. Austin Reeves is questionable, or he is probable to play tonight. No Anthony Davis, but other than that, the depth of the Lakers, what we believe of it, does exist. It is betting is believing. So I will go next, and this is a game that does have some injury news that just popped up before we went live. I'm taking the Raptors still first half -4.5. You can find that on BetMGM. So the news out this morning or this evening: no Anunoby, no Fred VanVleet for the Raptors. Andre Drummond is out for the Nets. No Simmons, no Durant. No Kyrie Irving. Irving can't play in Canada. Even so, I think the Raptors, we've talked about this on this show, other shows on Action, the Buckets podcast. Nick Nurse is riding these guys a lot of minutes. So I would prefer to edge a first half in a full game, because that trend of the minutes that Siakam plays, for example, that worries me for a whole game. Scotty Barnes is still very young, but Siakam, an older player. In relation to Barnes, I prefer a first half in this spot. Raptors have had a top 5 offensive rating in the NBA since the new year. Top 5 in February, 119.5. I trust that to hold true in the first half. The Nets, this is more about the Nets and not trusting the Nets. They have the second worst first half scoring defense in the month of February. 62.8 points per game allowed. I like that for the Raptors. Better at home than on the road offensively. And the Nets have the 5th worst record against the spread in the first half of the season. Raptors haven't been much better, but the Raptors are above 500 against the spread in the first half this season. So I'm going to continue to ride the Raptors. It is the second night of a back-to-back. Raptors blew them out in Brooklyn. I don't see how there's any way to back the Nets in this spot. I'd rather take the first half with the hope that Nick Nurse does not ride these guys too much in terms of minutes in the first 24 minutes of game action. Curious if either of you have a thought.
Yeah, I took the first quarter, so I'm with you on the first half. I do agree that, Nick Nurse does play his starters ridiculous amounts of minutes, and off a back-to-back, you could expect some kind of a maybe a letdown here, being that but they also did blow out the Nets last night, and this roster is going to look exactly the same here, just without Andre Drummond. So that's one less interior player you got to worry about. I'd be all over the Toronto Raptors here in the first half.
Yeah, Nets just aren't very good right now. Period.
Yeah, it's an easy team to fade and go with the other team. And the Raptors also, if there's any motivation with play-in tournament stuff, I mean, Raptors are in a much better spot than the Nets are to get above the playoff line at this point than the Nets are. So maybe that's something to motivate them as well, to get some more separation. You sweep the back-to-back, sweep the home and home. All right, Chris is excited about this. It's time to spin the wheel. The wheel is back, folks. The player props are all over the wheel for tonight's 6-game schedule. Whatever prop it lands on, each of us will weigh in, and we'll tell you whether or not we think the prop will go over or under. So Chris, once again, gets to go first because it's been a long time waiting for him. Let's spin the wheel for Chris Raybon, please.
Do it.
Chris, there's music behind this too, so it's very, very catchy, and we need to see your energy shine through. On Jaylen Brown, 5.5 rebounds, over or under?
Ooh, I got to go over on this one. He's been over this in more than half of his games. Against the Hawks, though, for whatever reason, he tends to put up big rebounding games. He's had 9 in one of the games against the Hawks. He's had 12 in another. Boston's favorite, and they're at home, are the Celtics, and Brown is averaging more rebounds per game, both at home and in wins. So I think this is a good spot to take the over here. I could put him closer to 7 rebounds in this one. So I'm going over 5.5.
All right. Yeah, I'm seeing here Jaylen Brown, 6.7 rebounds per game at home. And on the road, it's 5.8. That bodes well. All right. What do you think, Dan? Got a thought?
I have Jaylen Brown on my fantasy team, so he's been very lucrative for the rebounding props. And so I'm expecting him to give me an early lead as we get to these fantasy playoffs here. So I'm all over Jaylen Brown. Love him.
Sure, the pace helps too, right? Up and down, and
absolutely.
Yeah,
Atlanta got out to a nice lead in the first last time they played, but Jaylen Brown was really quiet, so I'm expecting him to wake up a little bit. He only had like 17 points, 8 rebounds, so he's going to have a nice little bounce back here.
It was one of those afternoon tips, Super Bowl Sunday afternoon tips when they last met, so makes sense. All right, Dan's turn. Let's spin the wheel, please. All right, what do we got? Oh, Scotty Barnes. We mentioned Raptors Nets. Raptors are a little shorthanded. Checking now. That number is still at 9.5 on multiple books, Dan. What are your thoughts? Rebounds plus assists, Scotty Barnes, 9.5.
I'm at a loss for words. I mean, I saw it opened at 8.5, and now it's at 9.5. Some books even have it at 10.5, but BetMGM's still holding firm here. I love this opportunity for Scotty Barnes after what he did last night to the Nets on the front end of a back-to-back. He dropped 28 points, 16 rebounds, and 4 assists. But over the course of the season, in 3 games versus the Brooklyn Nets, he's averaging 16 rebounds and assists. And with OG Anunoby out of the lineup, his rebounds and assists jumps from 8 to 8.3 rebounds and 3.4 assists. So there's plenty of value here with him at 9.5. And let's be honest, we just talked about it. This Nets front court is just gross. It's disgusting, very uninspiring. You have Andre Drummond's not even playing, thankfully. And then you got LaMarcus Aldridge and the shell of himself that is Blake Griffin. So I don't see anywhere where you can see a scenario where Scotty Barnes doesn't clear 9.5. His double sitting at plus 500. And I mean, given what he did yesterday, he out hustled and outmanned everybody on the Nets roster. So Nets don't really have much to go for here. And I think he's going to continue to have a really good game. So 9.5 rebounds and assists. I'll take the over on that.
Yeah, I think Aldridge would be the next guy to start, I would assume, or is it Claxton? I'm not entirely sure what they'll do. But
yeah, they're just going into the trenches for these bodies here, man. It's getting gross.
Sheesh. Okay. And plus I'm seeing on DraftKings 9.5, Scotty Barnes minus 135. So that number consistent on a couple of books. So we shall see for the youngster, for the Toronto Raptors. Okay. My turn. Let's spin the wheel. Jayshawn Tate, 19.5 points and rebounds. Plus money on this right now on BetMGM, plus 100. I'm going to take the over on Jayshawn Tate here of the Houston Rockets against the Clippers. Tate has got to this number. He's hit over in 3 of the last 4 games. Tate has got there in the last 9 games. You look at his averages, 14.3 points per game, 5.3 rebounds per game. Do the math, that comes out to 19.6. That gives you an over. So he's been doing this over the last stretch of games. Christian Wood, that's his right-hand man on the glass. I like the spot. Clippers are allowing the 3rd most rebounds to their opponents. Tate had a nice game last night against the Clippers, another scenario in the NBA where we have these 2 teams playing each other on the second night of a back-to-back, same matchup. I do like Tate in this spot. He had 6 rebounds last night, 14 points. More of a complete player, of course. He gets those assists as well. So I guess if you're interested, you could check out some of the lines on points, rebounds, and assists. But considering the Clippers and their struggles on the glass, I like Tate in a spot to get rebounds. And I'm assuming a lot of attention will be on Christian Wood, and that might open up opportunities for Tate.
That's a good play, man. Jayshawn Tate's been probably one of the more underrated guard/forwards for much of the last 2 seasons. And I really like your angle here with the Clippers struggling to rebound the ball. They've just been a really inconsistent team. So yeah, I think that's a really good spot for him.
He's averaging 21 points and rebounds in 30 minutes against the Clips in 2 games this year.
Okay, there you go. I mean, I guess my only concern would be their game last night. Both teams didn't even hit 100 points. So it could be a lower scoring, grinded out game. I guess that would be my only concern for the point side, but Tate's been getting there the last 5-6 games. So, all right, we'll find out. But as Chris said, he's got there in the last couple for the Rockets against this Clippers team. Final segment, here we go. It's the old axiom in betting, fade the public, because we don't think you guys know much, and sorry, but not sorry. That's strong, but we're going to prove it to you. We asked you on Twitter. This is not a national TV game, but it's a good matchup. 2 Western Conference contenders, Steph and the Warriors, Karl Anthony Towns and the Timberwolves. Of course, one team is more of a contender than the other. Who is the better bet to go over their 3-point prop tonight? Is it Steph Curry, the greatest shooter ever, as most would like to believe, at 4.5 total threes, or 3-point contest champion Karl Anthony Towns at 1.5 made threes? We asked you, the people, on the Action Network HQ Twitter account. 66% of the folks believe it's Karl Anthony Towns. Chris Raybon, I ask you, are you riding the public?
I am. I'm going with the public in this one. I don't see how you don't. I mean, obviously Steph's the greatest shooter of all time, but the number, we got to bet the number here, right? Steph's number is 3 times as high as Karl Anthony Towns is. And so you look back at this season and who's gone over this more? Well, Karl Anthony Towns has had 2 or more threes in 60% of his games. Also has done it 2 out of 3 against the Dubs. Whereas Steph, he's done it just 48% of the time has he gone over 4.5. And he's done it in just, 1 out of 2 against the Wolves. So I'm going to go play the numbers and just go with Towns with that 60%, where Steph, I mean, the number's right where it should be. It's about 50-50, but you're getting a little value here if you're just looking at the number on Karl Anthony.
So if you're talking just the matchups head-to-head, to Chris's point, Towns got the over twice. He had 5 in one game. That was early November. Then he got 2. Steph, to Chris's point, hit 3, which is under that total of 4.5. Then he hit 6. What do you think, Dan Titus?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to go with the public as well with Cat, and much of the reasons that Chris just outlined. This is just better value with Karl Anthony Towns here. It's going to be lesser effort for him to get this number. He's going to be matched up likely against Kevon Looney, who doesn't really go out to defend bigs that well. So, he's attempted at least 6 3-pointers in the first 2 contests this year. And then he actually got 10 attempts in the first matchup. So, yeah, I just think that this is a numbers game. And, with Steph, he's averaging 4.5 3-pointers made against the Timberwolves this year, but he did miss one game. So he's got 6 and 3. He's really struggled with his shot. So I'm going to trust in the 3-point champ, Karl Anthony Towns, to get 2. I just think that's a better number.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to ride with the public as well. And the adage of less is more, I think, is the way to go here. You're asking for just 2 in comparison to 5. And I'm a little surprised by the line to see that the Timberwolves are only getting 3. What I mean by that is if the Warriors were a longer favorite, I would like this even more, because I would like to think Cat's going to have to hit some threes. The Wolves as a team are going to have to hit some threes to stay in this game. But as we found out with Steph, he reminds us of this from time to time, even when he's not shooting at an elite level or just an unreal level on his terms, he can still impact the game in other ways. Like that game against the Blazers last week, Dan, we're like, oh, coming out of the break, 24.5 points, like no problemo. He goes off early. Turns out, yeah, I don't need to score 31 tonight. I can lay back now. It was the Blazers. Okay, I'll give the Wolves a little more credit. They are better than the Blazers, but in that case, he doesn't have to go nuts. And I think for the Wolves, they kind of need Cat to make shots, right? They need Cat to make shots. So
100% right there.
Okay. So there you go. We're all going to ride Cat. So therefore, we don't think you're that dumb tonight, people. Not dumb. That's strong, but we don't think you know anything. There are times where that might be the first in a long time where everyone on the show is riding the public tonight. It's been a while. So there you go. So to recap tonight's edition of Heat Check, 6-game slate in the NBA on this Tuesday night. Chris Raybon back on the program. He's got the Pistons plus 3.5. Jaylen Brown to hit over 5.5 rebounds. He's going to ride Cat as well. Dan Titus, Lakers under 54.5 points first half. Scotty Barnes over 9.5 rebounds and assists. He's also on Cat. And then I will take the Raptors first half minus 4.5. Jayshawn Tate over 19.5 points and rebounds, and Karl Anthony Towns. And just a reminder, same game parlay. Check it out. Lakers, Mavs, Brunson over 4.5 assists. Luka Doncic over 2.5 3-pointers made. And then Jalen Brunson, we're going to just get involved with him even more. 15 plus points plus assists, pays out plus 185, the odds for you tonight for that same game parlay. Fellas, anything you'd like to tease here coming up this week over on the Action Network? Chris, anything you'd like to promote here for the rest of the week?
Oh, yeah. Check us out. We're going to be back on doing some NFL content, talking about some free agency and some futures. So check out the podcast.
Very good. Dan, anything to add?
Yeah, just check out the Buckets feed. We got the workshop going tonight and tomorrow, and then closing out with the big picture. So we're live, ready. A lot of content coming at you. So, yeah, please pay attention to that. And also check out the Fantasy Flex, because we do have some cool season-long props that we have for Prize Picks that recently dropped too. So really good stuff coming from the crew.
Excellent. Month and a half left in the NBA regular season. Be sure to get involved. That's going to do it for us. Thanks to Chris Raybon for joining us tonight. Dan Titus as well. Brendan Glasheen. Also, thanks to our entire team here at Action Network. We will see you all again next week here on Heat Check. Best of luck with all of your picks and all of your money needs this evening in the NBA. We'll see you.